Hey everyone, my name is Nick. This is my 2007 Lincoln Town Car Designer Edition with 172,000 miles that I am putting up for sale. Bought this car April of 2019 with around 142,000 miles. The car did sit for a bit as I had quite a few other projects going at the time, but I did get to it and eventually got it into the shape I was looking to have for a vehicle that I could pretty much hop into the driver's seat and take anywhere on a moment's notice. This car has given me 30,000 miles of really reliable, great service. I've never once had an issue with it in terms of it like not starting or something like that from a mechanical failure or anything else. This thing has really been a phenomenal car, and it'd be sad to see it go, but unfortunately I have quite a few of these and I don't need to keep them all. So at this point it's probably time to let this one find a new home, and hopefully somebody else can get some good use out of it. So I'll walk you around the car here, show you some of the outstanding qualities to it. One thing to note, overall this car has been fully repainted. Bumper covers, panels, everything has been repainted. Not by me, at some point during its prior ownership. I'm not exactly sure who did the job, but it's, as you can see in camera here, it's a very presentable job, but when you get up close you can see there's solvent pop, and it's a little, it just doesn't have the clarity and luster of a factory paint job. You can see trash in the paint, etc. I'm not sure the story, I'm not sure what happened, but I do know that it has been fully repainted, if that's of any concern to anyone. Otherwise, it has its share of door dings and little scuffs. There's a little scuff down here kind of thing, and of course door ding there, and I think there's probably another one in the passenger door somewhere that I'm not seeing. I'm sure there's one in the fender that I'm not seeing, or maybe I'm on the wrong side of the car and this thing is better than I was expecting. No, there's a couple door dings there, but I'm not going to walk around this and show all the huge flaws that this car has, because it is now a vehicle that is approaching 16 years old, if my math is correct. So it's going to have its share, especially with this kind of mileage. So anything major back here, the only thing I note is I guess somebody closed the trunk at one point and it doesn't sit 100% flat here. I'm guessing that's because when the trunk was closed, somebody had something there and it tweaked it a little bit. So there's no water leakage or anything in the trunk that I've ever had. I've taken all the carpet out, no water inside of it. But as you can see, if I open the trunk, put the keys out here, the power operated trunk moves up and down. At some point somebody had some kind of resin stuff trying to hold this carpet up, and it was just missing this. There's some clips that go in here, so I've replaced those. I do have a plate bracket in case you want or need it, but it does have the factory nav unit in here. It does have the quarter mounted spare jack, as well as the lug wrench, and I even have filled up the spare tire, so you actually have some. Did install an LED light in here because these casings are famous for cracking and blowing out from the heat of the incandescent bulb. I've also resealed this, as this is common to have water coming out of, where are the drain holes, like right here for instance. So it's very, very common on the 2006 and ups to see that leak in higher mileage, because Ford used a foam gasket. So I've applied some butyl, as the Ford TSB says, got rid of the water leak. Wish they would have done that from the factory. Otherwise, looking down the side here, you can tell that this panel here is maybe had some body work on it before. It's not 100% laser straight, dings and stuff in it. But again, when you stand, gosh, 5-10 feet back, it looks good. There's door dings, of course, down the side. But again, like I was saying earlier, it does present really, really well. just looking around, anything else really noteworthy about this car? Can't really think of anything to highlight outside of here. Again, there's, in these cars it's famous, you see rust coming in like right here, or you'll see rust all along these arches and quarters back here, and there's nothing. It's beautiful inside of here. There's no rust. Yeah, I guess we could move under the hood for a moment here so you can see how things look there. The grill I did replace with one from the junkyard I found, as the one that was on here was peeling away. So this one looks pretty good for its age, and the hood ornament hasn't fallen off yet. So like I was saying earlier, this car comes from Washington, D.C. and Virginia Beach. So it does have very, very, very minor amounts of corrosion on stuff under the hood here, but I've never had a problem with taking a bolt out. It's just kind of like surface level stuff. You can see here, look, it's already removing itself just because I touched it with my finger. So anyways, what have I done to this car under the hood here? I did a belt tensioner, an idler, the belt itself, intake. Somebody else did that hose, thank you to them. Coolant cap. Look, it still has the tag on here. These are usually long gone. Did plugs recently in it, put some Motorcraft plugs. Fortunately, since Ford doesn't have a supply of the factory intake manifold right now, I just put on what is available, Dorman one. The recall was done for the steering shafts, the lower and the intermediate one that goes up into the bottom of the steering column, so you don't have any of that tightness when trying to steer, which is common on these cars. Cooling fan works well. This car's never overheated under my ownership. I'm trying to think if there's anything else to note up here. I did put a couple of headlights in because they were taken in water, and unfortunately they were kind of weathered anyways. Did paint this bumper cover as it was really, really bad. I guess from maybe city parking in Washington, D.C. And that was probably 10,000-ish miles ago, so it's starting to get a bit peppered again from, unfortunately, South Carolina's wonderful, wonderful roads. So I think that's all I can say about outside of here. I put Travel Star tires on there. They're date coded, I believe, 2019, somewhere here. If I could find it, there it is, 15th week of 19 on all four of them. They're all wearing very nicely. Brakes, I did brand new Ford stuff back in 2020. So that has new pads and rotors all around. Motorcraft struts up front, Motorcraft upper control arms, as well as Motorcraft lower control arms. So I think that's it up front besides end links. Otherwise here in the back, what did I do back here that I can remember? I think it was just brakes, shocks. Oh yeah, I put some new airbags because it was starting to leak down in the back. Not sure there's a whole lot else to highlight here. Did a fuel filter recently along with the air filter, oil change, transmission fluid, coolant flush. I think that's pretty much it for outside of here. So I think we'll go ahead and move along into the inside of the car and show you around in there for a moment as the leaves fall down. So this is the Designer Edition 2007. It has a black interior, as you can see. Leather is in really, really good shape for its age. I kept a towel on this during my ownership because I know it's famous when, if you just sit over there normally and this is cooking in the sun while you're driving, these seats will shrivel up and look like a raisin and turn into a brick. But look how nice and soft this is. This is just almost unheard of with this age. So this is in really nice shape. Armrest does have a bit more wear on it. And unfortunately, I guess the user or users previously of this car were heavier on the armrest, but not much you can do. This is a designer specific armrest, so very difficult to find. Carpets in here, really nice shape. I move over here. It does have the factory nav unit, and this is, as you can see, it has the THX speaker with the tweeter. Ashtray is here. I'm trying to think if there's much else to note. Steering wheel controls are present. Yeah, everything looks pretty standard fare in here to my knowledge. Yeah, looking over here, do have the documents here for the car, including owner's manual. When I did the, oh, I forgot, I did valve cover gaskets, timing cover gaskets, timing chain tensioners, guides. I put in all new ones when I had the engine apart. So the grommets for the valve covers were in good shape. I didn't bother changing them, but if they become a problem later, that's fine. Since the original ones are made in Canada and these are Chinese, I figured the Canadian ones have a better hope for longevity. Otherwise, looking at this here, you can see the original window sticker if you care. I do have that. And I also did order a Marti report for this car. So you can see how rare it was back in the day. So pretty neat info if you're a fan of these cars and like having that kind of information. And this car also had a, I'm not going to maybe say famous, but a very notable owner. They bought this car new. And when they sold it in 2018 to the prior owner, this thing was rolling around on diplomatic plates. So that's pretty neat. Pretty rare to see. Found that behind the glove box. So hung on to it in case the next owner wants to take some interest in it. So I think that's it for this side of the car. Moving into the back. Does have the sill plates and of course the ashtray, special seats with the articulating headrests, etc. You do have a cup holder here, armrest, controls, storage. Everything works really well. Apologize, I never showed. Even the pull strap's still in good shape here. I demonstrated that either. That seat here, as you can see, is moving forward and you can move it around. And of course, seat heaters, power windows, and locks. I think we already showed everything on this side of the car. Anything to note over here? Pull strap has a little bit of wear there, but it's still very presentable, nice, soft. Got the ashtray. It's got just a little minor scuff here. You could almost blend this in with some color or something, but it's in such nice shape back here. I don't even want to touch. THX speaker grills, as you can see. Otherwise, you have your headliner, coat hooks, factory moonroof. Looking over here, this door is still, sorry, I'm trying to demonstrate, the hinge is still doing its job properly. Over here, I did replace this during my ownership, so it does have a new control. Along with everything else, it was pretty much okay. Pull strap here, as you can see, it's just got a little bit of wear, but otherwise in really nice shape. Driver door module, common problem with these cars, is functional and has worked all during the time I've had it. So power mirrors, windows, locks, seat controls, etc. It all works. Do have so the ability, you can open this up, closes, and this isn't all floppy and disintegrating. Still have the floor mat. Unfortunately, there is a little bit of a burn mark here. But I guess if that's all that's in here, it doesn't smell like smoke. I guess at some point, maybe in its life, somebody decided they wanted to have a quick break. Not sure there's a whole lot else to say here. I will note that along the edge here, there's just a few marks along the edge of the leather here. And this wood is actually specific to the designer for 2007. Oddly though, I would not say that that wood matches that wood, so I'm not sure why they did that. But anyways, anything else to note here? Power pedals, automatic headlights, pull for fog, memory seats. I did turn off the seat scoot functionality for this car so that it doesn't constantly move back and forth every time you get in and out of the car. Yeah, I can't really think of much else here to mention or notate. These are nice, basic, but very well equipped cars that are very comfortable. So there's not a lot of special features to note here because they themselves are in, they're all in good shape. So just a little bit of wear here on the horn pad. This is the same amount it had when I got it, so nothing abnormal. I don't think I've added any additional damage here. I try to be super careful with this since you can't, this is a difficult wheel to find. All these buttons work here, which I guess I could take a moment here to demonstrate that, and we'll go for a drive in a moment. So put the key in. You can see car fires right up, dings away at you, and I do currently have the e-brake on, so just FYI. So anything to note inside of here? The screen itself now works. When I bought it, the screen did not work. I had it rebuilt and it cost $350, and they fixed the CD changer at the time, but then the CD changer subsequently died a year later. So I don't care enough. As long as I can see this and use this, that's perfectly fine with me. Not sure there's a whole lot to highlight here about what's available, but at least you got the map and you can turn on a radio and listen to that really loudly, but we don't need to listen to that. Otherwise, anything else to note here? I did install visors out of a 98 to 2002 town car, so you get the double visors with the HomeLink. The 2006 and up have a single visor with HomeLink, but the visor will tend to be like this. They break because of their design internally. This plastic arm, and it just breaks in the southern heat. So I don't feel like driving like that, so updated to that, and I also wired up the power to it properly, and I did make an intermediate harness in case you want to put back to the original, but these at least still work okay. And you can also pop it out, rotate it around, and you have coverage both sides. So always been a big fan of that design from Ford. They've been doing that since the 80s. You can hear, oh, might help if I opened it. Sorry, as you can see, that opens. You can close it. So that all works really well. I'm trying to think if there's anything else to note here. I mean, I could run the climate control self-test here. You can watch that. This means everything works, so all good there. The temperature says 60, but it's dropping outside. Yeah, I'm not sure what else to really say here. The windows all work. Of course, the locks, all those work. I think you guys know the trunk popper works. Dampened glove box. Pops down, lights are on. Really not a whole lot else to say here. So let me get this set up and I'll take you for a quick spin.